Hello, this is Einsteiner3. You probably know me from the community in massive multiplayer platformer by Griffpatch. This is going to be an advanced dive into the game, and I'm going to explain some of the more advanced cycles, and then I'm going to go over the world record run. First off, cycles. What are cycles? Cycles happen because Griffpatch coded moving platforms, which makes it possible for cycles to either help or break a run. Luckily, when you reset using the green flag, then all the cycles get reset. Then, all the cycles will be the same, and it doesn't matter when you start, as they will all be the same, except the spinner cycles. The second spinner cycle moves slightly faster than all of the other moving platforms, so it gets off the normal cycles. Depending on when you start, the spinner cycle will slightly be different. I'm only going to talk about TAS cycles in this video. Here is a graph I made with 6 different cycles. As you can see, it is split into 3 main groups: 0 cycle, first cycle, and second cycle. The reason it doesn't go to the third cycle is because the third cycle is the same as 0 cycle, and the fourth cycle is the same as the first cycle, they mirror each other. What is a 0 cycle? As you can see, 0 cycle means doing a TAS start just after resetting with the green flag, the first time the yellow-gray platform hits the ground, like the world record. The first cycle happens when the yellow-gray platform hits the ground for the second time, like this 55.9 run, and the second cycle happens when you do the TAS start the third time the yellow-gray platform hits the ground. As you can see back on the graph, the 0 cycle is the fastest, then the second cycle, then first cycle is the slowest of the 3. Now what does the 6th/12th frame mean? A 6th frame TAS start is a variant over the normal 12th frame TAS start. The 6th frame TAS start starts slightly earlier than the 12th frame TAS start, meaning it makes the first and second cycles slower, because it starts earlier, therefore losing time, so I'm going to cross those off. Although the 0 cycle isn't possible with the 12th frame TAS start, because you need to start earlier to hit the spinner cycle, so I'm going to cross this one off as well. This leaves 3 main cycles. Also, TAS starts vary, so they don't always hit the 6th/12th frame start, but it's a rough estimation, and I didn't know what to call them. I'm not going to go into much detail about the second cycle, but because of how the cubes work, even though you can get faster times up to the cubes compared to the first cycle, it gets slowed down, and you get times similar to the first cycle, although I will say this. The second cycle has the potential to get a sub-55 by beating the cube cycle, but doing that is even more precise than just going for the 0 cycle, so for now, I'm going to cross off the second cycle. This leaves only 2 cycles, which I made another graph here. I strongly recommend going for one of these 2 cycles if you are a top runner, or want to become a top runner. As you can see, I'm the only person to get a 0 cycle run, and in a bit, I'm hopefully going to try to change that by explaining the 0 cycle that I used on the world record. You can see that nearly all of the top runners, including my 55.9, use the first cycle, because it is significantly easier to hit, and with 4 decent elevator skips, the rest of the cycles line up nicely. 0 cycle is a lot harder to get the spinner cycle, then you have to do a super precise jump onto the elevator, but because of some math that I'll talk about in a bit, it makes it possible to be far enough ahead to be an entire cube cycle ahead compared to the first and second cycle. Which is why the new world record has such a big time jump. So with this out of the way, let's get onto the video. Starting with the cycle, as I explained, I was going for 0 cycles with a 6th frame TAS start. I started on the 4th frame, meaning I lost around 0.1 seconds because I started really early, but this led to me getting more consistent spinner cycles. This TAS start specifically jumps right here, so I knew from experience that the best way to do the slope was to do a normal jump followed by a mini long jump. If you land even farther right on this platform, then it's best to do a long jump on the left side of the lava lake, then a normal jump. Once I get to the wall jump section, I jump up to the first checkpoint. Here comes the moving platforms and the cubes. This part was the most common run-ender, because of how long jumps work, as when I get to the second cube, a lot of times, you long jump up the slope, and it doesn't give you a full jump. There are two main ways of getting around this I found. The first way, as in the video, is to not hit the top of the first cube, but to hit the bottom, and this gives you more upwards momentum, leading to less mini long jumps. Another way I found, happens when you have a good TAS start, so you are far enough ahead to land on top of the second cube, so you don't have to deal with the annoying slope on the cube. Now we get to the slope, not much different here. The only thing different is avoiding the headbang so I can land farther to the right, therefore I didn't have to walk across the platform. Here comes the new elevator section. When I was testing, I found that doing the normal way like Icebreaker's 56.5 run doesn't work, it wasn't fast enough, so the new route was to do a high jump straight to one of the moving platforms, but the trick is that you can't do more than 3 wall jumps on the left side. Otherwise you won't make it. I do the cycle, and make it to the top. Because I practiced the cycle so much, I knew that I was going to make the spinner cycle, but if you are slightly behind, then I found it was possible to do a crouch slide to get into the spinner. Once you hit a spinner cycle, you have to do the most precise part of the run, called the elevator cycle, because that's not confusing at all. I'm calling it the ECJ, or the elevator cycle jump from now on. I had dozens of runs fail at the ECJ, and found the best way to get more consistent at it, was to practice. Here you can see that I still have a run that goes all the way to the spinner cycle, and let's see if I can hit the ECJ. Some tips I have as I try to get the jump, is to really try to get a good entry, by getting a good head bang, then to jump slightly earlier, and the main tip, try to hit the flag as far left as you can. If you are too far right, then you wall slide on the elevator, and you can't get the cycle. Well, let's get back to the run. Once I get my 3 elevator jumps, I move to the spinners outside the elevator, which from practice, I knew would line up. I also found that it was better for this specific cycle to do a normal jump, as doing a long jump is a little slower. I hit the crouch glitch, and at the bottom, I decided not to do a long jump, as I was super stressed and didn't want to mess up the run on something dumb. That's also why I normal jumped up the slope. Now here, you can see that I just make the cube cycle, which is why there's such a big gap between around 56, and times in the 54s. I get the momentum long jump, then the normal jump, then do a good slide to the stairs. Around here, I knew that I was probably going to get sub 55 if I didn't mess up, so I did a consistent stair setup, and then didn't mess up the last jump. 54.8. I'm super happy with this time, but I know it could come down even farther. Altogether I lost around 1 second. Most of that time loss was because of the slow stairs, and slow elevator skips. Altogether, I think someone out there can get a sub 54, especially if a new strat comes out. I think I'm probably going to take a break from any % grinding for a while, or at least until someone starts to catch up to me.